Good morning, everybody. This is Real Estate Unfiltered with none other than Ben Cushing. Today, I'm really pumped. We have my good friend and our CEO of the New Hampshire Association of REALTORS, Bob Quinn. And I texted Bob earlier this morning going, hey, we still on? Just because we're having a little bit of a snow thing going on here in New Hampshire today, and some schools have either been canceled or a 2-hour delay. And Bob got back to me very quickly and said he just told his kids that we needed to have 2 or 3 feet of snow before school got canceled back in his day and my day. And I couldn't agree more, but that's our world that we're in today. So welcome, Bob, and thanks for coming in.
Good morning, Ben. Great to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Love it when their dads tell them the old stories of the old days.
Yeah, and I know they don't believe us,
Right.
because I never believed my father either, but he does tell me those stories. And I think he did actually literally walk to school. We might have had the option of driving, but Dad, I know our fathers probably walked to school. There's no question. So once again, thanks, Bob, for joining me. You know, when I put this podcast together and the list of people that I really wanted to have on, Bob was obviously at the top of the list. Bob's been with NHAR for quite some time, and is highly respected, not only in the state of New Hampshire but around the country. I can tell that Bob might not want to say that, but I know he is. So we're very, very lucky to have him. So one of the first questions I'd like to ask Bob is, how did you come to work for NHAR, and maybe what did you do before that?
Yeah, so I started at NHR around, I think it was 2010, as the government affairs director, and we'll get into what that role is.
Yep.
Prior to that, I had been working in private sector, doing consulting work, public relations, government affairs. Had worked at the State House for a couple of years. So I had been involved in New Hampshire government politics for a number of years prior to coming on the staff here in 2010.
Awesome. And there is no question. If anybody has questions, thoughts, ideas about things that happen at the State House, Bob has been the go-to guy for a number of years. And I know when Bob took over the role of CEO, first of all, I am more than thrilled that our association selected Bob. I know that there was a national search. I was beating the drum that Bob was the person that needed to be in that role from day one. And so I'm very happy that our membership did select Bob to be in that role. But Bob's position as the GAD, and Bob will talk about what this GAD is for those of us that don't know. And Bob and I were talking before we started this morning that for the longest time, I've been in real estate now for 25 years. I didn't know what GAD meant, and Bob didn't even know what GAD meant, and he was in that role. But Bob, as the CEO, then was stepping away from the government affairs director role. But Bob is still keeping his thumb on the pulse of that. That is in Bob's blood. And I think he's doing a great job of managing both of those roles right now, with the help of a couple other people that we've kind of hired on from the outside to help with that too. So Bob, what is this GAD, Governmental Affairs Director's role? What is that when you hear people talk about it?
Yeah. So the government affairs director role here at the State Association is basically to be the liaison and advocate for the real estate industry at both the State House here in Concord, as well as with the various executive departments in the state. So it may be the Department of Environmental Services. We've certainly dealt with the Department of Revenue Administration, the banking department, and others. When there's an issue that arises that's going to impact the industry. So what we have here at the State Association is something called the Public Policy Committee that is open to any licensee, any realtor in the state to participate in. They meet frequently during the legislative session, and they oversee the State Association's positions on legislation being introduced. Every year at the state legislature, about 1,000 bills are introduced, and every single bill in New Hampshire, which is somewhat unique to New Hampshire, has to have a hearing and has to be voted on by the full legislative body, whether that's the House or the Senate. A lot of states, that's not the case. The committee chairman can sit on bills and they never see the light of day. That's not the case in New Hampshire, so it keeps everyone pretty busy. And you never know what might slip through, so you got to take every single bill seriously as a potential of becoming law. So that Public Policy Committee will take positions. They'll direct the Government Affairs Director, myself, our team here, on what to do. Should we support the bill? Should we oppose it? Or should we simply monitor it and see where it goes, and regardless if it passes or not, inform the membership? Keep in mind that the New Hampshire Association of REALTORS, and I'll add the National Association of REALTORS, really were created now 75, 80 years ago for this purpose, to create a collective voice among the realtors in issues of public policy. It's part of our mission statement. It's part of our founding documents. The National Association, they're responsible for interacting with everything that takes place at the U.S. Congress and in Washington. We at the State Association are responsible for interacting with, again, State House here. And the local boards should also be looking at interacting with their selectmen, planning boards, issues. As we all know, right now with the affordable housing and the inventory crunch, a lot of that is due to the fact that local leaders are putting up artificial barriers to that housing. So it's really, three pillars there for the National Association, the state, and the local in order to advocate for the interest of the industry.
Yeah, there's no question. You and I were just on a subcommittee meeting the other day relative to public policy, a committee that I've served on for a while. I try to tell people that if you are interested in serving and are interested in that kind of thing relative to public policy, that is the type of committee to serve on, because it is very, very interesting. Now, there's a little bit of a commitment there, but it is a very interesting committee because you learn a lot of things, and you see some crazy things too that come across everybody's desk, but a great committee nonetheless. I was fortunate enough that I served on it well before your time. I believe when Kip Cooper was actually in the GAD role, and I was new to real estate. And this is back at our old building on Airport Road. And the first meeting I ever went to, there was a seat open next to this older gentleman. So I went and sat down next to this older gentleman who I did not know. But I came to know this gentleman, and it was Stuart Lamprey. And I served on that committee with him for a few years. And I sat next to him at every meeting I ever went to, just to try to absorb some of the knowledge that man had. Truly a very, very interesting individual that had a depth of knowledge in this state that was crazy good. Let's just switch gears. You mentioned something, what you just said, Bob, about your team. Now, I know when you said that, you're referring to a few people that work with you on the GAD side of things. But let's talk about the team at NHAR. I just recently read in New Hampshire Realtor magazine, our friend, my Realtor associate friend, Nancy Leroy, is retiring after a number of years here in our state, and she served at many, many different levels. And one of the things that Nancy said in her letter in the magazine was she wanted to thank the staff at NHAR, and she said that a few times in her letter. And I would like you to talk about your staff, who they are, and just a brief description of some of the things that they do. I mean, as you know, I love everybody at NHAR. I consider them all good friends, and they do great, great work for all of us. And a lot of it is behind the scenes things that no one ever sees, but they're doing a great job. So who's the team down there?
Yeah, so we have a great team here at the State Association, and just quickly for those who aren't familiar, we're set up really in a committee structure. So we have obviously our board of directors, we have an executive committee which is responsible for the governance of the association. But in addition to that, we have policy committees. So we have, as I just mentioned, a public policy committee. We have a communications committee, which is responsible for creating and communications both internally within the realtor community as well as externally with the general public. We have a legal committee that is responsible for all of the forms, the management of NHAR forms, grievances, professional standards, a lot of education there, risk management. So there's a lot going on with legal. And we also have a professional development committee, which handles all of our educational aspects and the conference and other things. And we have a finance committee. And each one of those committees is assigned a staff member, a full-time staff member, who is responsible for ensuring that whatever the agenda, whatever the tasks that those committees put forward, that they're followed up on and completed. So Communications Committee, as many people might recognize the name of Dave Cummings. Dave has been with us now for, I think, 15 years and is sort of the go-to guy on all things communications and making everybody look good. So he puts on oversees the magazine, all communications with news, papers, and others who might be contacting the association about whatever topic. Statistics, you see when we put out the monthly statistics, Dave is in charge of that as well. Dave's as Ben can attest, a great guy, easily approachable. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to give Dave a call. On our legal committee, and she also covers our board of directors and executive committee, is Nicole Greco. So Nicole wears a lot of hats here. She also manages and helps out with public policy, as well as the New Hampshire Realtor Political Action Committee, which interacts with a lot of the legislators during their campaign cycle. So she's very involved in that. Amber Bonifant is she also wears a number of hats these days. Anything to do with membership, you have questions about your membership, Amber's the go-to person on that. She's also the go-to person on most of the educational opportunities that we're putting on here at the State Association, including the conference. So she has a pretty wide portfolio. Stacy Kelly, many of you may know Stacy because she handles what we call our multi-board. So she handles several local boards and the AE functions that are required there. And she's also does all of our leadership activities here at the State Association. I'm sure many of you knew Diana Dunning quite well. And Stacy has taken up a lot of those leadership functions that Diana had handled so expertly for so many years. I think every single president of this association became president in many ways because of Diana Dunning. And Stacy has really taken on that role and has quickly earned I know the respect of our association. All the local AEs, I think, always look to Stacy with questions as well that they have as they go through core standards and other requirements there. And then if you call the association, the first voice you're generally going to hear is Jen Gabe. She is our receptionist, also handles the Honor Society here for us at the State Association. So, and it's very easy. If you ever want to get in touch with any one of us, our email addresses are always our first name. So in my case, Bob, and it's at NHAR.com. So if you want to get in touch with Dave, it's Dave at NHAR.com. And so feel free. And the reminder, our phone number is 225-5549 as well. So feel free to contact us either way. So we have a great team, and we're a member-run organization. So all of these committees, which every realtor is eligible to join, they set the policies, they set the agenda, and we as staff are here to ensure that we follow through with whatever they're deciding is the goal.
Yeah, so we do have a great team. There's not many people out there that beat the drum at how great our staff is at NHAR, kind of like I do. I consider them all good friends. We've had a lot of fun together over the years. And you mentioned the name Diana Dunning, and we'd be remiss if we did not talk about Diana and Paul Griffin. Diana was that quiet person that worked in the office for many, 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 many years. And if she saw something in a person that she thought that person could maybe serve in one aspect or another at the state, she'd tap them on the shoulder quietly and say, "Hey, Ben, have you ever considered maybe that you could like to be on this committee? I think you do a great job." And she just had this way about her that when Diana spoke to you, you're like, "Yeah, I think I'd be great at that." And that's what happened to me. Diana tapped me on the shoulder 100 years ago, and I went on the communications committee, and that's where I first started. And then I went to public policy, and over the years recently I've served on all of them. But Diana definitely was a great person. And then our good friend Paul, who passed away suddenly, which was a shock to all of us. But Paul was a dear friend. He was our CEO prior to Bob, and Paul was revered by everyone. He was a well-loved guy, similar to Bob, and then I think Bob learned from Paul that just a very quiet and didn't ruffle too many feathers, and but everybody knew what they were supposed to be doing, and very respected around the country. And that's what I will say, from our staff to our CEO, even though New Hampshire is a very small state, I think we are very respected, not only in the New England region, but around the country. As you know, Bob, we had our friend Tom Riley be the NAR treasurer, and for a little state like New Hampshire to get somebody that goes up that high on the food chain at NAR was rather impressive. And we still get to use Tom today as a resource for things at NAR. So we're very, very respected at the state level, and it's been fun getting to know everybody and work with everybody at the state. So you mentioned these different committees that we have. So should someone have an interest in serving on a committee, what is the kind of process that people have to go through, real quickly?
Yeah, so it's a pretty easy process. Every fall, we will send out an email to the entire membership with a sign-up application. You just pick the committees that you would choose to serve on and send them back to us. And with some fewer exceptions. We have a couple of committees that are limited in terms of how big they can be. Finance committee, for instance, but others, you can participate. You jump on, and we've got, and you shouldn't. I hope people don't feel like, well, I don't know enough about public policy to participate in that committee. It's not about, you don't have to be an expert in the legislative process. That's not the point. The point is you're an expert in the real estate industry.
Right.
And you bring that knowledge with you, and that informs the decisions of the state association on whatever bills come in front of it. That's the most important piece of it. Same thing with communications, professional standards, legal. I mean, everyone, will use our forms, so everyone's very comfortable with that. We have members who join and they sit and they listen for a year or two. We don't hear much from them. And then the third year, suddenly they get their, feet under them and they become leaders on the committee. So, I strongly encourage everybody to at least participate. Obviously the pandemic has been a catastrophe in many ways. But one of the things that has come out of it, which could be beneficial, is how people participate with the association. Right now, all of the committees are doing at least part of their work through Zoom, and that allows someone who may be an hour and a half away to participate and not feel like they have to take their entire day in order to do it. So, encourage everyone to come in and give it a try. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, and I tell people, granted, the COVID has obviously changed things a little bit, but I tell people, hey, we all pay these dues. Why don't you go down and see what our association building and office and staff look like? What do they do for us? So where your dues payment is going, and it is beyond well worth what we pay for dues for what we get in return. Let's see, something that might be coming down the road. What do you think of that might be coming down the road that may affect our membership in a really positive way, hopefully this year?
Yeah, so Ben, I was just mentioning the pandemic. The past couple of years we've had to postpone or cancel several events that we were planning here that we were very excited about. But with fingers crossed, 2022 is going to be the year that we're back on track. And in September, we're going to have what I think, and again, going back to the committee, professional development committee that's put this on, our biggest and best conference that we've ever had before. We're going to get some really big name speakers to come in that we're excited about. Christopher Voss, who some of you may be familiar with. He is the former FBI interrogator who will share with everybody sort of what he's learned and traits on picking up different aspects of how to negotiate with folks. He's got a best-selling book out there, nationally best-selling book. You may have seen him on. Someone had got me a gift for the masterclass series, and he's actually in there as well. So that we're excited about him. Allison Levine is also going to be participating. Ben, you know Allison quite well, and what she's going to bring to the conference. We've got a lot of fun stuff going on too. That's going to be a little bit different. That hopefully what we'll be focusing on a little bit on is some networking opportunities. It's been a long time since I think folks around the state have had a chance to talk to each other and network. So we're concentrating on that as well. It's going to be here in Concord. We're using a variety of different venues, Capital Center for the Arts, here, Bank of New Hampshire Theater, which is across the street from our office. If people are familiar with where our office is, I should mention that our office is located in Concord, right on South Main Street, right down the street from the State House. So, that's going to be a big event, and we're excited about it. And hopefully we'll see a lot of folks come participate, see their fellow realtors, exchange some ideas, and get some great information.
Yeah, I hope we can get as many of our members to come to this. This has been in the works for a couple of years now, where we've had to kind of put it off. But I've been on the committee with a bunch of other folks that do great work to try to put together something that is, you know, I don't want to say over the top, but something much more grandiose than we've had before. And I hope we can draw people in to that.
And I should mention that of course, the major event during that conference is going to be the installation of our 2023 president, who I believe is Ben Cushing.
Yeah, that's another thing that Diana Dunning kind of said, "Hey, Ben, come in my office." And when Diana spoke, you listened, and yes, ma'am, where do I sign up? So yes, I look forward to that, and we'll have a great year, and it'll be fun. And it is interesting. The last thing I'll talk about that you might want to hit on a little bit is we have a leadership academy here in New Hampshire, and when I was speaking with our friend Dan O'Halloran the other day, Dano and I were selected to be on the first ever Leadership Academy back in 2016. And I'm not sure if the selection committee knew that Dan and I knew each other and used to work together and put the two of us on a Leadership Academy together. I don't know if they thought that would be a good idea or not, but it worked out great. There were 9 of us on that. And our past 2 immediate past presidents. Well, I guess if I keep going down the line, we were all on that, I think, as far as I go.
Your class, every single person
so
has
far
been president of the Estate Association.
Yes. And there I am, bringing up the rear, I guess, if you will. But I look forward to it, and I look forward to working with Adam, who's our current president, Adam Gaudette. Adam will do great things, I know. So we'll have a very good time. All right, Bob, I don't want to keep you any longer. So if people wanted to reach out to you, what is the main phone number for NHAR, and your email again, even though it's an easy one, but what is that info?
Yep. So you can give me a call, 603-225-5549, or shoot me an email, which is bob@nhar.com. And, I'll just leave you with this, Ben, is this association literally cannot operate without its volunteer members. And part of the Leadership Academy is to encourage and train those realtors across the state in how to get involved here at the State Association and become a leader. I will tell you, we were just talking about the first Leadership Academy and the presidents. I can say with great certainty that there hasn't been somebody who has served here at the State Association as president, as a chair of a committee, who hasn't walked away saying that was worthwhile. And I enjoyed that. I learned something. I got something out of it. I contributed, and was enthusiastic. So, I encourage everyone, dip your toe in, join a committee, but hopefully get deeper involved as well. I had mentioned before, we would love to see you here participating.
I couldn't agree more with you, Bob. Even though some of us say, geez, another meeting. I'll tell you, I look forward to coming to meetings in Concord, because I get to see some of my fellow realtors from around the state that I don't necessarily work with all the time. And it is like one big family. It really is. Everybody from northern New Hampshire to southern New Hampshire and to the west and the east, we all get along so well. And it's it's a big hug fest when we get to see each other, and that's why I'm a member, and that's why I like to serve at the state. Not only have I garnished business from it with referrals and things like that, but I have lifelong friends, not only with our staff members and yourself, but other members that are part of our association throughout the state. So I would totally agree with Bob. Stick your toes in. Try serving on a committee once and see what it's like. Once you get in, you'll love it. It's I don't know many people that have walked away from it, like you said, Bob, that have gone, oh my God, I don't want to do that ever again. It sucks you in, and it's a good thing.
And I'll tell you that from the public policy perspective, some things we've had members who walk in talk about. I remember the issue a couple of years ago with radon on the water. We've had people coming in talking about problems they encounter with getting VA mortgages on private roads, on and it goes. It's the members who bring those ideas in, and then 2 years later, suddenly there's a state law downtown,
right,
which has fixed their problem.
Right.
When you join the professional development committee, the speakers, Allison Levine, Christopher, we're not the ones who are coming up with those names. It's
right,
the members who are bringing those forward.
Right.
When you join the legal committee, those discussions there, it's not the staff that's driving any of those discussions. It's the members who are making the changes to the forms, who are doing the risk management videos, all of those sorts of things. So you can have an impact. I can assure you that when you come here and participate.
Absolutely. Well, Bob, thank you very much. I'll put all your contact information in the show notes, and we'll post that. But thanks for having me. Thanks for coming in with me this morning on a nice snowy day. It's greatly appreciated, and keep up the good work. And we will, I'm sure, see you soon. I might even see you this afternoon in a meeting.
I think I'm going to see you this afternoon.
I think we're going to see each other on Zoom. But thanks again, Bob. I appreciate all the work, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ben.
Take care.
Everybody.